In a recent class, we were working on increasing shoulder mobility while lying down on our side. And I had someone ask me, what do you do if laying on your side is uncomfortable and an old injury is, not comfortable with the exploration? So I wanted to speak to that and just go over the movement we were doing to increase that range of motion, but also how to speak to discomfort that shows up while exploring it. So I'm first going to say, if you lie on your side and it's an absolute no, then don't do it. Or if you can be on your side, but just do a few movements, and if you feel like you're then soon heading to discomfort, that's when you would get off of your side, turn onto your back, and just rest, and then go and work on the other side. So the movement we were exploring was coming onto our side, and to come onto our side, we want to find our true side. So you think of sitting prim and proper in a tall back chair that just tipped over onto its side. And it's really important to have the proper pillow underneath your head so that your head is in line with your spine. And it's not a pillow or prop that has your head dropping down, tightening the bottom side of the neck, right? Notice how that curves the upper spine. And it's not too high of a prop where your top ear is jammed into your shoulder. So you're finding that right level of support. Shoulders are stacked, hips are stacked, knees are stacked. You could put a blanket in between your knees if it felt uncomfortable with the knees touching. Watch at that bottom arm. Sometimes it jets forward. You want to bring it back. Now this is where it might get uncomfortable. If you have an aggravated shoulder, you might not be comfortable in this position for too long, so don't stay in it too long. Another way that could take pressure off that shoulder is in the contour of your side. So this space between the ribs and the hip, I like to call it the hourglass. So putting a folded blanket and filling in this contour can actually help elevate you a little bit more. And plus it might take your spine out of a sag that can happen when you come on your side. Like I find this common. I'm broad in the shoulders and the hips. So when I lie on my side, I notice that this side really shortens. It's like it brings my hip up to my armpit down to my hip. I'm creating tightness on this side. If I slide this blanket underneath into this contour, you gotta have the right size blanket too. This might be a little bit thick. I could go less. But it elevates me, it puts my spine in a straight line, and it takes out that dip. So you don't have this sinking down anymore. I don't have this shortness happening. So the exploration was top arm on bottom arm, focus on the shoulder blade, protracting the shoulder blade, moving the shoulder blade away from the spine, sliding that top hand, and allowing the ribs and the head to move along with this, because the shoulder blade sits on top of the ribs. So if my shoulder blade is moving, my ribs ought to move, my head can move, my pelvis can move. And it's not about how far I'm going, and it's not about, I'm not reaching with the hand and the arm, I'm letting the movement come from the shoulder blade. Being tight in the ribs can restrict the movement of the shoulder blade, and it can create what you may have heard before called frozen shoulder. The shoulder blade is designed to move in 6 different directions, But for this movement exploration, we're only exploring two, protraction and retraction. So what had happened is my student was noticing that this was causing discomfort. The top shoulder was collapsing, and it wasn't a pleasant exploration for too long. So what I would like to suggest is just take this bottom arm and fold it up around your pillow. Bring in a bolster or a stack of blankets, something that's nice and firm, so that your arm can rest on top. And it just created a nice amount of space, right? So now when I'm reaching my shoulder blade forward, I can still move, and I don't have my top shoulder collapsing into my bottom. So that's the movement. I'm going fast. I would want you to explore this slow. I'm making sure that the shoulder blade is doing the movement, not the arm, not the hand. So then we were retracting, going the other way. After resting, retracting, bringing the shoulder blade in toward the spine. And then bringing it back out. And so you would do, depends on how long you can stay on your side, really. But you can do a few forward, excuse me, and then backward. You could do 3, 5, 10. It's not about the number you do. It's not repetition. It's not quantity. It's about the quality of the movement and creating more mobility in your shoulder blade. Now, I did say that if you're tight in the ribs, then it can impact on how your shoulder blade moves. So you want to free up the center first. So my advice would be to do the arch and release and the flatten and the release somatic movement to help free up the center first, and then go into the shoulder blade movements. Or you might want to explore, just assess it. What's it like to do it cold right out of the gate without doing anything? Notice what your movement's like. Then explore the arch and flatten, and then go back into that exploration and see what you discover. Now, if laying on your side is just an absolute straight out no-no, then sit at your kitchen table. Sit at your office desk. Sit down, not like this. Sit down, feet flat on the floor, arm forward as if you're going to handshake someone, and let your hand rest on top of the table and go into that shoulder blade movement. And it's a fascinating exploration to do, because then you also get to feel and sense the movement when you're moving the shoulder blade away from the spine, how it moves the center. I'm going into a twist here, right? So I'm allowing everything to move with it. I'm allowing the pattern to move. And then retraction, not the greatest way to sit for this. And then the retraction, and notice how I start rotating the other way. Again, the movement is all being initiated from the shoulder blade. Okay, so then you would just take a break, notice each side, and then come back and do it again on the other side. Okay, so something else I thought of too, if you don't have a bolster but you have a yoga block, if you're exploring this on your side, is you can actually use your yoga block. So it goes 3 different heights, right? It goes small, medium, large. So notice, the higher I put the block, the higher my shoulder goes, and there's more space here, okay? So you could use a slippery surface, let the shoulder blade glide, and slide the block along. And then bring your shoulder blade back. So you can explore in that fashion. And then after so many movements, rest, and then go into, I'm gonna fight with my mat here, but then you're going into retraction. It's not gonna work on my mat. And come a little bit more forward. So then you're retracting and the block is sliding along. Okay, so there's some cool things to explore for you. And so check that out. Explore it and see what that offers you. And if you were in that class doing that exploration with me and you were feeling like, yeah, that was really hard for me, explore this and let me know how that helps, okay? I would love to hear your feedback. And if you're really jammed up, come and see me for a private, right? I would love to help you unravel the mystery of where you're tight in your body so that we can release it and create more freedom for you in your life. All right? Thanks for tuning in and happy penticulating.